A lot of times when you write something in a script, you're using your imagination, you think you can create anything. So you write whatever wild idea your imagination comes up to. Well, in the case of this movie, we had this very specific scene where the bad guys go way back into these canyons where you can't land a helicopter. It's a place nobody ever goes because it's virtually inescapable.
This is where I notice a flare and a helicopter, and me being the sleuthy detective that I am, I put two and two together. Well, somebody's getting on that helicopter. It's probably the bad guys, so off I go.
Gather around, everybody.
They always approach the helicopter from the front if at all possible, but always get the pilot's attention before you get anywhere near the helicopter. And I can either wave you off or I can call you in, whichever one. But you want to remember, don't ever go around the back of the helicopter for any reason whatsoever. That keeps us all safe, okay?
Okay, guys, as soon as we can, we got to get going.
Okay,
We got to get going. We're going to have this wind coming up in about 2 hours.
When we were going into our rehearsal days for the big helicopter sequence on this film, we went out to a pretty remote airport west of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Well, these are the canyon walls, so we have to go this way and land. Okay?
What our needs were with this helicopter was having the ability to rappel out of this helicopter for this sequence. And it hadn't been tried before on this particular helicopter. And so there were some issues that were going to have to be determined to whether we were going to be able to use this aircraft or not to do what we were trying to do.
Yeah, the only time that we're going to be really at canyon level is when we're doing that run up where they want to see the helicopter.
And that's the second day, right?
No, it's still probably be. We're going to try to get all the flying aspects done tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So, but that'll be after we do the hang and the drop.
And so we put our stunt guys in there, we rigged the helicopter, and we had our John Cena double, Greg Sproles, coming out of the helicopter and rappelling down towards our Nealon double, who's Kelly Vickers.
I'm ready.
We had this helicopter stunt where John slides down to try to get the bad guy at the end of the movie. It's dangerous to undertake and put together, but the actual part of sliding down, where the helicopter would be bearing the weight of our stunt guy, and John Cena ultimately, was pretty straightforward.
All right, well, good. So that looked great. That looked great.
We've damaged the helicopter.
We have.
Yeah, collapsed the roof. That sudden shock of him at the end of the line, boing. My bracket held, but the roof collapsed.
Oh, okay.
Got the structural damage?
Yep.
How bad?
Pretty bad. It's done. I have a helicopter that we can use for the hovering and that kind of stuff, but no rappelling or anything.
The rehearsal at the airfield, we had a little problem with the helicopter. The speed of the helicopter rising up and the speed of myself going down the road, you got to multiply that force. Therefore, that caused the framework to snap and cave in. So it actually caved in some.
And when he hit that bottom like that, he just wanged it.
So I get there, and a bunch of guys are standing around scratching their head, and nobody's doing anything, and they all walked up to me, and I go, well, how's it going? They said, well, we have a problem.
The problem wasn't so much him coming out of the chopper and being laid down. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that when he came down to, because there's a height problem, he came down to the end of his safety line, on the end of his dead man, and there was a shock to that because he was coming down the path.
There was one other helicopter, and that helicopter, although looked great as a helicopter, I couldn't put the same equipment in it. I couldn't do the stunt the same way. I had to change shots. It was a real scramble.
Just so everybody knows, we've kind of changed modes. We're gonna start with the helicopter shot first.
What this first shot is John's gonna be starting up over the rise. He's gonna come up, our helicopter's gonna be hovering, and we're gonna take him to about here-ish, okay? 2 cameras across the way, 2 cameras over here. The helicopter will be working most of the day today.
It seemed logical that if I couldn't use the helicopter for the real stunt hanging down because now it was not equipped for it, maybe we could span the canyon with a cable and I could frame the camera below that cross line and we could actually drop the stunt guy in the real canyon. We'll bring the helicopter in overhead to create that same wind environment because the dust and everything swirling around, there was no way you could fake it.
The original idea was to bring the chopper in and for me to dangle from the helicopter, for Greg to come down and do everything we're doing here off of the cable, off the helicopter. But we can control this, and when you're making a film, you certainly want to control as much of the environment as you can.
The stunt this morning with Kelly was both of us were simulating rappelling down a rope with Kelly on the bottom, me playing the part of John Cena, coming down to kick him off at his shoulders, and both of us split apart and hit the canyon floor.
One of the things was John Cena's character has to slide down and knock him off. So we decided, well, how can we get that shot and see looking down at the guy that you're about to crash into? And so Ken Zunder, our DP, had bought this specialized camera.
A tiny little camera that we mounted to John Cena's foot, so when he's sliding down the rope, we get his POV looking down at the guy down below the rope that he knocks off.
It looked right at the actor as it was coming down. It was a pretty effective shot.
I know for a fact that Kelly is going to do his job. I know that Jim, the rigging, I have full, complete trust in them that I can just concentrate on dropping down the line and hitting the deck hard, which is all I have to do.
All went well, nobody got hurt, and in the end, it's all about safety. As long as the shot came out as you all expected it to, then we're happy.
Good.
We could not do everything we needed to do safely with a real helicopter in the actual canyon. And because safety is the #1 concern, and because John, admittedly, is deathly afraid of heights. I want you to get closer on the one where we're going to have you tied and safer. These all
the
die
whole tied
here.
and safe thing is all good, but there's
Yeah.
still a cliff right over there.
Yeah,
Deathly afraid of heights.
I know.
Okay. Just letting you know.
You're only going to go as far as you can go. That's
All
over.
right. I'll do what I can for you.
All right. You're not going to die, and it's going to be fine. And then you're done. And so what we had to do is we had to create a mock-up of the side of the cliff where John jumped off the rock.
The mock-up was built for John, and we used it just for that. We used it to tie John Cena into this action with the helicopter.
What we had to do was hang the helicopter up from a crane, make it look like it was actually flying, which it wasn't, because John Cena basically jumps from a canyon onto a helicopter and then rappels down a rope.
Do you want to do it, or if you don't want to do it, we don't give a
Do I want to do it? Absolutely not.
Are you going to try one?
Yes.
Okay.
But I absolutely don't want to do it.
John's really up front as it concerns his fear of heights.
I was originally told that the cliff would be about 12 feet. As you can see, it's morphed into something bigger than that.
You good with all that?
I'll do it.
Attaboy.
I already said yes, so I gave him 3 tries, and that was it.
I have to commend John. He definitely does what needs to get done.
This is the one scene in the movie where I was reading the script. I was, can they do without the helicopter? But we couldn't. They made it work, and like I said, it's gonna look awesome.
Another successful stunt.
These 3 days of stunts have been the most action-packed, stress-filled, days that I've had in my career. We've done things in this amount of time that I have never seen done before.
The more pieces you have, meaning different shots that you can cut into an action sequence, the better, because you can create excitement that way and a certain energy that you look for in any good action sequence.
As far as that whole helicopter sequence goes, I'm very proud of it. All of the elements that we had stacked against us, including the failure of the structure of the helicopter when we first were rehearsing, to having to abort and go to plan B, and my stunt guys, literally every single person from top to bottom did such a great job.
Oftentimes, the best stuff happens in a last-minute scramble where we put our heads together and we go, how do we get ourselves out of this and still make a stunt that's going to be exciting for the fans to see? And we were able to do that.